What's up, everybody? My name is Joe. Welcome to the JNA Everything Bodybuilding and Fitness Podcast. And this is Alberto. What's up, Alberto?
What's up, man? Good to be
So,
back.
good to be back, man. Really happy that we're doing the second episode, which today's topic is going to be 90s bodybuilding in general. We're going to also talk about the 1992 Mr. Olympia and talk about the whole controversy going on right now on social media between Dorian Yates and Derek Lunsford. And Dorian he's Mr. Opinion. Dorian was phenomenal in his time, but he kind of tearing down like today's guys. And I understand his point. Like every bodybuilder thinks their era was the best era, right?
Oh, of course.
He thinks his era was the best. And you got Lee Haney and Rich Gaspari, they think their era was the best. But there really was something special about the 90s, dude. Not just because me and you were into it back then, but because if you look at the genetic gene pool back then, everybody from the top six and top seven of most of those shows in Olympia, any one of those guys could have been Mr. Olympia.
True. Any of those guys now would win any major show at any time. And listen, they could be at a 90% and would still win the Olympia.
Name a couple guys that you think.
Even guys like Paul Dillette, Nasser, Chris Cormier. Let's see who else was there. Lee Labrada, even Lee Priest starting out could still do really good at any show now.
Do you think these guys would be better off if they were coming around now to go into the 212, or do you think they would be good in the open?
Yeah, they would be good in the open because you see how they did back then. There was no 212, and
right.
Even guys at a lighter body weight, like for example, Sean Ray was coming in at what was he, 210, 215? But you see how he was doing.
220.
Winning the Arnold's twice second at the Olympia, top five in every Olympia since his second Olympia. These guys were in great condition.
I think the difference is like the guys today have good condition in certain body parts, like their glutes, their hamstrings, but you don't see the same separation. Like, do you think like the separation thing is a drug thing? It's a diet thing? Like, what do you think that is?
Could be a combination of both. Whatever they're on, maybe doesn't mix well at certain times of the prep. Just a couple. Diet could be another thing. I don't know what their diets are like.
Not for nothing, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Derek Lunsford, man, I know that you had him winning for the Olympia, but he's got the weirdest conditioning, dude. Like his glutes and hamstrings are fucking carved out of stone.
Right.
And his biceps, shoulders, and chest have zero definition. Like it looks like part of him is like 8 weeks out, and the other part is ready for the show.
Yeah.
Like it's really like strange.
One thing I think also is they depend a lot on food that's prepared by somebody else. A lot of these guys back in the 90s, they all prep their own food. If you look at some of those like bought meals, a lot of high in sodium, you don't know how it's made. Back then they were all prepping their own stuff. Everything was made by them, not by anybody else.
What, you think some of the pros are doing the prep meals?
No, I'm saying back in the 90s, the guys did their own stuff.
Do you think the pros today are using some of those pre-made meals?
Some are. Like if you look at some Derek videos, everything that he eats basically is pre-made stuff that he gets. They're all sponsored by these companies, so they rely on them a lot. Back in the day, there were no pre-made meals. If you talk about a guy like Lee Haney, at once he said that the wife knew the diet better than he did, because she prepped everything for him.
Right.
Lee Labrada, the same thing.
Yeah.
Even, Jay Cutler, he did all his food.
Right. Yeah, no, I understand what you mean. Like, I think some of those guys might be doing that. I don't know if it's just like a genetic thing, it's the diet, but I know that if you go back and look, like we're going to talk about the 92 Olympia, like, which I think is one of the most underrated Mr. Olympias of all time, because it was the first year in 9 years that Lee Haney didn't compete. Right? So Lee Haney came in third his first Olympia, and then he won 8 in a row. Yeah. And he retired. If you go look, I mean, we could show footage on the TV, but it's really horrible quality. But I had the poster '92 Olympia on my wall when I was a kid, and everybody in the top 12 was peeled, not just in shape, peeled.
Yeah,
Like you see
yeah,
Larone's face, you see Labrada, you see Sean Ray, Vince Taylor, Sonny Schmidt, and Vince Taylor. He came to Helsinki and that luggage strap came down off the top of the
hit him
plane
in
or
the
the bus. Him in
yeah,
the eye, scratched his cornea, and the guy just went to the doctor and got an eye patch and got up on stage.
yeah,
And I have the results here. He still placed sixth.
sixth, yeah,
So it was Dorian and then Kevin, Labrada, John Ray in fourth, Ben Aziza when he passed away not that long after this.
yeah,
Vince Taylor was sixth. Sonny Schmidt, another unbelievable bodybuilder back then. People don't realize how good he was, man.
yeah,
Especially he won the Masters Olympia a few times. He was unbelievable. Porter Cottrell came in eighth. Me and you seen him guest pose that time at that show, remember?
right,
Ron Love, me and you met him at the '93
yeah,
Olympia. Terry Pastel, one of the best stabs in the world,
amazing,
10th
amazing,
place. The Canadian guy, Steve Brisbois, little short guy,
yeah,
he
yeah,
was 11th. And then 12th place, that's when Lou Ferrigno came back.
right,
I don't know
right,
if you remember that. He made that comeback and,
yep,
he had the fishy calves, took away his placing, took away his prize money. And then Ronnie Coleman made his debut at that Mr. Olympia, tied for last place with Milos and a couple other guys.
yeah,
Isn't that crazy? And
yeah.
how he just climbed the ladder
Who,
and
who would have thought?
no one. If you watch the documentary about him, they just ignored him. Wow, what is he
Yeah,
doing here? But even he was in great shape, dude. Like I think that Lee Haney not being there that year lit a fire into everybody's ass.
yeah,
And Dorian went on the record many times saying that he knew going into that show he'd be one of the biggest guys, so he just stripped down. And you could see his death face, man. Him and Lavone, both of them. That was Lavone's best shape ever. Shredded at that show.
I remember. Well, even going a little further back when he won the Nationals in 1991, and even when he placed second to Paul DeMayer at that Junior Nationals, amazing. He
Yeah.
had size, the shape, everything shredded beyond belief. And
And
then
you
when
know
he
what?
came, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish what you're going to say. I'm
No, and
sorry.
then when he came to Olympia, actually he had won the Night of Champions that year. And coming to Olympia, he was amazing, amazing. They had a great career after that.
Kevin talked about when he died for that show, all he ate was tilapia and egg whites for the whole 6 weeks leading to that show. He
Right.
said he would never do it again. He said he never wanted to go through that torture again. But look at him. I mean, he was shredded beyond belief.
Yeah.
They had everyone on that stage had shredded glutes at that show. But I think like the younger viewers, what they don't really understand, like what makes the '90s set apart and why people talk about it so much is because I just feel like it was the peak of bodybuilding. Like we didn't have social media. Right? If we wanted to find out who won the Olympia, we called the Olympia hotline or we
I remember
called
that.
Gold's Gym in Venice to get the results.
Yeah.
We had the magazines. Right? You probably had every magazine known to man.
I had everything.
Yeah. Muscular Development, Flex Magazine, Muscle Mag International, Iron Man, Muscle Media 2000, Muscle and Fitness,
There was
Flex.
Muscle Training Illustrated.
Yep.
Trying to think. Then
Perillo Press.
what's that? Oh yeah, the Perillo Press.
Yep.
And then later on was the I think it was called the Jeff Everson magazine, Planet Muscle. I think it was called.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He came a little after that, but those magazines were amazing. Back when Muscle and Fitness was a bodybuilding magazine, not a CrossFit magazine. Remember that?
But that was our social media. We
Yeah,
wanted to
yeah,
find out like the dirt on people. We picked up Muscle Mag. Muscle Mag was like the dirt magazine.
right.
Iron Man was like the training magazine. Muscular Development was everything but a lot of drugs. They talked about
Right.
a lot of drugs in there too. And then Bill Phillips magazine. Which one was that crazy one with Dan Duchesne in it?
Muscle Media
Yeah,
2000.
yeah, Muscle Media
Yeah,
2000. Back in the Fedrin days, the ECA stacks.
yeah.
Like
Ultimate Orange.
you viewers that are watching that are younger, you don't understand. Like when we would go to a pro show and see a pro, they were like WWF wrestlers to us. Like they were larger than life
True.
because you never got a chance to interact with them. They're so humanized now that people are just complete assholes to these guys and just
Yeah.
do everything in their power to get in their head and mess with them. And it's too much now. It's too diluted. So I think there's something to be said about how things were a lot harder for us to get information back then, right? We get a book, or we would watch American Muscle on TV, which we have a whole episode that we're going to be doing just on that.
Yeah.
But that show was amazing. That was it once a month on 1 o'clock in the morning on ESPN, right?
I remember that. Yeah.
You showed me that, and then I started taping it. I'd watched the tape 1,000 times, so it was like disintegrated.
I remember how I got started with that. It was a friend of ours, Javier, and he one day in high school, he's like, "Hey, ever heard of Muscle Magazine?" I said, I don't know what that was." He brought me this 6-hour tape of a bunch of episodes recorded, and I viewed it over and over and over again, and I still have that tape to this day. You
Yeah,
know,
dude, you know Lou Zwig still has every single episode in a basement somewhere that's rotting.
from what I was told, and this came from Ron Harris actually,
Yeah,
from
yeah.
where you got your information from, said that he has it in a basement. A lot of this, the way it was recorded, it'll be very hard to convert it into any kind of a DVD or but still, I wish I could get my hands on that. You're talking about, what do you have it on? 20 years, I think it was, the TV show.
I mean, dude, yeah. It must have ran from
It was in the
1990,
80s. You know,
80. Oh, 80.
yeah, 80s, mid 80s maybe to
Something else?
the late 90s.
They
So
didn't have a different name back then?
it was first called American Muscle Magazine, and then for some reason it changed to Muscle Magazine, and then at the end it went back to American Muscle, American Muscle Magazine.
So, yeah, and then they had a Best of American Muscle as well.
Best of American Muscle was every Sunday at 8 o'clock, and set the alarm on, 7:45, go down and watch it from 8 to 8:30. Best of American Muscle, and then from 8:30 to 9 was Lee Haney's championship workout. That was every Sunday. Never missed it. Never missed it. I made sure I had the VCR set up because back then we had VCRs.
All right. So, yeah, Lee Haney's championship workout was great. I remember seeing the one when he had Bev on it. Bev Francis was on it. He
Yeah,
had Joe Piscopo.
yeah. Steve was on it. Uh, Steve was he interrupted the show. I guess the producer came and said, "Oh, we have somebody here," and Lee Haney is like, "Oh, come on, we're in the middle of taping." And Steve came.
I remember that.
Yeah, I think they did like a bicep workout. I remember that one. Then I don't know if you remember when they had Bobby Heenan and the Barbarian. If you remember that one when they did chess together. So
With Lee Haney?
with Lee Haney, yeah, he came in his
See that?
Barbarian outfit. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But that was the stuff where we studied those tapes. It wasn't just something you recorded, watch it, put it away. We studied those tapes. We did those workouts. We ate those meals. And it was over and over and over again. Get home from school right before the workout. We'd watch American Muscle, look at a magazine. That was our motivation, and that's what we did.
Yeah, dude.
Like that.
And I remember the Flex magazine workout later on with
Yeah,
Sean Ray, Frank
Boyer,
Zane.
Boyer Co.
That's
Yeah, who JJ Marsh, I remember, was in it. Paul DeMeo. They had a lot of guys coming on and off.
the guys, a lot of them, even the mass monsters, still for a long time had a very small waist. They
Yeah.
always said Dorian ushered in the mass monster era, but you know what? 92 and 93, he still had a taper. He still
Yes.
had a pretty small waist,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Like, and his abs and thighs, even when he got really big, was underrated. He had a great abs and thigh.
Yeah.
And,
He always did.
look at those guys back then. It's just everyone was unbelievable. And all these guys, like, well, the 90s is overrated. I mean, dude, you're going to look back at like horrible quality stuff. Like, of course, they're not going to look anywhere near as good as the guy with more modern footage.
Right. Right.
Everyone always used to say you didn't see Dorian Yates unless you saw him in person.
I had a friend of mine. He saw Dorian Yates. He guest posed at Dowling College when they used to have the Atlantic States there. The biggest bodybuilder he ever saw.
That's another point that I wanted to make up was that back then you had guys like Matt Mendenhall, Edgar Fletcher, Rory Liedermeyer. Is that how you say
Liedermeyer.
it? Liedermeyer.
Liedermeyer.
Who else? There was a three or four guys that never turned pro that were unbelievable.
No,
Like
Gerard Dente, if you remember him, he's the owner of MHP.
never got a pro card.
No, he never got a pro card. No, that was Rich Gaspari's old training partner.
Oh yeah, I remember him. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's right.
yeah,
Dude, Edgar Fletcher had probably the smallest waist,
yeah.
wide shoulders, and Palumbo always says on his channel that they would always catch him cheating. Like he'd be like up the street from the show getting a hot dog at the vendor.
Yeah, well,
He'd cheat.
yeah,
Genetics are that good that he's trying to get away with it, but the guy was phenomenal.
it
That's what I
was.
mean. Dude, they give out so many pro cards now. It to the point. Listen, today everything is over the top, diluted. There's too many classes, bro. You have men's bodybuilding, men's physique, men's classic, and then you have women's bikini, women's figure, women's fitness, women's physique, women's bodybuilding, now wellness, and then
Wellness.
there's another category too coming out. Fitness, some kind of fit, whatever. I
Oh,
forgot the name of
a
it.
fit model. It's like a fit model.
Bro, these shows are the local shows are gonna go to 2 o'clock in the morning. This is
Yeah,
insane. Like, you know what? If you want to have that many categories, okay, this is what you do. Saturday, all the men go. Sunday, all the women go.
they. I don't know what show it was. They did that one year, where it was a Saturday Sunday event. I remember one of the last shows that I ever went to before the show you did in 2023 was the '07 Eastern USA. It started at 7 at night, ended at 1 in the morning. It was the worst experience. Everybody's hungry. The place is hot. I said, never again. I'm like, I can't do this. It's
That
just
was
too
back.
much.
That was back in 2007.
Yeah, 2007. You know,
Go try to do that now at a state show.
yeah.
You'll be there till the next morning.
No, you go to the no Nationals, the USA. That's an all day, all night. Samson. When we met Samson, when we went to the Atlantic States, I called my friend. Wanted to see, how did the prejudging go? It was 6:30. He said, "We're not done yet. The show's supposed to start at 7." So imagine from when we were there at what do you figure? 10 o'clock it started, till 6:30. Imagine you're the last competitor. You have nothing in you. That's why these shows nowadays is drags too long.
If you want to have these shows, like I said, put all the men on Saturday prejudging a night show, all the women prejudging a night show on Sunday. That's
Yeah,
the only way to do this feasible because it's not fair to the families of the people that come.
yeah. But you remember back in the '90s, we used to go to these bodybuilding shows. They start at 7. You're home by 9.
No,
You
not
had
even. No, dude, we would get there at 10. Prejudging would start at 10 and we end at 12 or 1.
yeah.
Start back up at 4 or 5, done at 7 or 8.
I remember like they'd have a couple of teenagers, maybe a master or two, a few women, but it was for women bodybuilding. That was it. And then
Yeah.
the men's open, and then you're done. Great.
It's this progression of greed. They want more money. Yes, I understand they wanted to make more categories for guys that aren't built like bodybuilders. Then they wanted to bring back the classic look of the 80s and the 90s. So they made classic physique. Okay. But it's just, dude,
Guys in the category.
like how many shows have you been to, like local shows, or you've heard of, like, there's like 10, 15, 20 guys in each category for the men's physique class. Like
Oh,
this is how to, and not for nothing, bro. Bikini also. How are these people getting a good look?
yeah. It's very, very
There's
hard.
10 girls or 10 guys, all with a phenomenal physique. How are they getting a look? I don't know if you remember when I did the Mr. North Carolina in 2010, that last natural show I did, the one I won.
Right.
There was a girl. She was an NPC figure competitor, and she told me she was just like all day sitting there. She's like, I just, I couldn't. I just stopped caring. I just was writing whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Like, rotate the judges. Like, get 7 other people to come in and judge the class. Like, some of these guys are busting their ass for 20 weeks, 15 weeks. They're not even getting a look. Today, whoever the best man was up on that stage, that was it. That's who won. And you had to win the overall qualifier to go to the nationals, right?
Yeah. Nah.
The national shows you had to either win your class at the nationals or the rest of them win the overall.
Right.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Not 17 pro cards given out. It
No,
was
you look at the nationals, for example. Nationals are giving out pro cards at first and second place. When have you ever heard that? I never got that. It's just too much.
just that. I trained a guy who was really good in physique, And he's like, yeah, man, this show's a big show. If I place in the top three, I qualify. I said, listen, you're going to work with me. You're not going anywhere until you win your class.
Right.
You're not going to go to the nationals. He was thinking he was going to go there and get exposure. I was like, you're going to go there and get lost.
Yeah,
Is what's
yeah,
going to happen. Like, no one's going to even see you.
yeah.
Like, you need to win your class to earn that spot. I would never. Listen, another thing that we should really talk about too, like how the '90s was different compared to today, but this could probably have happened back then too. I don't know if remember the Nationals a few years ago. There was a guy, I guess he went to a local show or state show, and he was the only super heavyweight, and he won his class by default. He went to the Nationals, and he was probably 50% body fat.
Oh no, I don't remember that. There's a lot of those. There's a lot of those.
No,
And
dude, you don't
yeah,
understand. This is like a guy. He went to like a Pizza Hut eating contest, and
yeah,
then
yeah.
jumped on stage and threw oil on, and he's
We would
doing like,
always see some a guy like that at the shows back in the '90s. It was like that one teenage kid or like that one opens competitor who did not belong there. You know, I don't know.
you're talking about the most prestigious bodybuilding show that's not a pro show of all time, the Nationals, and you got a guy who's 50% body fat and up there posing and shaking his stomach, and people are cheering. It's a mockery of those guys that had to kill themselves to get in that kind of shape. Those
Right.
people shouldn't be allowed in the building. I'm sorry.
I remember a show at '92. It was a local show, 1992. The overall winner was the guy from my gym, and he's like, "All right, I'm ready for the nationals." And then after a few days and people talking to him, I guess it got sunk in. He goes, "This is about as far as I'm going to go." And he didn't do anything after that, because he knew he was good enough locally, probably the biggest guy in the gym, but nothing, that he could do at the nationals. You
There's
know,
nothing wrong with that. Everyone has a set point. Some people just love to compete, man. Like we're talking about Vinny Galante. We're going to probably get him on for an interview. The
yeah,
guy just loves to compete. I
yeah.
mean, how many? You can't even probably count how many shows the guy's done. Like,
Well, the guy who was, planning on retiring and then got into the Masters divisions, started winning, and it just evolved from there. He just did the Masters Olympia a few months back, so he's got
you know,
something coming up for the next year.
I don't know, man. Like with me, I don't know if maybe just I could never handle more than one show a season. I never did two shows in my life. And this last show was the first time ever that I did two classes.
Yeah,
Like I always would put everything into one show, and then whatever happened happened, and then I'll do another show the year after. I think that was back in 2005, 2006, 2007. One show a year. That's
right.
it. I don't know how these guys do 6, 7 shows. Oh, I look better in the fall. It's okay. Spring shows I don't like. I'll come in out of shape. Why are you competing then?
Well, look at Milos. Milos Sarcev was doing every show, when he first turned pro. So it got him all the exposure. Sure, he was making good money, got him all the covers, but that's going to be very, very tiring and wear and tear on the body.
All right, so look at you can't really see the detail because the footage is terrible. Look at Dorian, dude,
Yeah,
and Sean Ray. These guys were peeled. Look at Dorian, shredded glutes back then. He never really flexed them though. So now when he flexes it, you see his hamstrings and then the glutes striations, all three of them.
yeah.
This is '92, dude. Shredded
Even
out of
just
their minds.
look at the backs on these guys, the detail on the backs. You don't see many guys like that nowadays.
Look at Dorian when he does this X from behind. I used to copy that because my back
Yeah,
used to get shredded too. Look at that.
even the
Insane.
even the calves, all three of them up there, great calves. That's another thing you don't really see nowadays.
Johnny Schmidt in the background, Francis Benfato. Even Dorian just back then standing in the lineup. Dorian used to look terrible. The later Olympias just standing there, but in this year he looked unbelievable. See Porter Control in the background, another
Yeah,
guy with
yeah,
phenomenal proportion, not really missing anything. I think that was another thing back then. Guys like slam these guys for legs, but their legs and upper bodies pretty much matched.
right.
Even Dorian, because his upper body was smaller than. Look at his quads. Benaziza, it's like
Yeah.
5'1".
Who's that?
That's
That's LeBron.
Labrada,
Yeah,
Benaziza, and Sean Ray. Sean Ray came in fourth this year. Labrada was third. because I remember he was the one who raised Dorian's hand. Remember?
Right, right. And it's funny because Benaziza had beat him the year before. Had beat Dorian at the Night of
Night of
Champions.
Champions.
Yeah.
Yep. Dorian said he put a picture of Benaziza's back on his fridge to motivate him to get a better back.
It worked.
Look at Dorian, dude. He was a beast even at that. He was probably maybe 242, 245.
Yeah.
Right? He wasn't that heavy.
And that's the other thing. A lot of these guys were lighter in body weight, but the detail and the condition was amazing.
Do you think that this is where the mass should have stopped, like around this size? Because Laverne actually looks leg heavy here.
Yeah.
And
he always had the big legs. And then as he went on through the years, his legs were getting smaller, I feel.
Well, he tore his patella.
Yeah.
He had a patella tear one year. That was Hennessy Thorne.
Even him, there was another guy from Canada.
Man, look at Lavrone's legs back then, dude. All right, so that was the 92 Olympia. I think it's one of the most underrated Olympias ever. People always talk about 98, 99, even 93, but 92, man. Those guys back then in 92 were unbelievable. Between the proportions, the conditioning, plenty of size. Like, I mean, do you think that the size back then was enough? Do you think that things got pushed too far when Dorian came back in 93?
No, it was enough because that's what we liked. And to us, those guys were amazing, even in person. As the years went on, of course they got bigger and we still liked it.
Yeah.
That's a guy, let's say, for example, Sean Ray at 215, 210, he was huge. Now that's that's a 212 category.
Yeah, I mean, dude, unbelievable. I mean, then you talk about how things like completely just revolutionized or whatever you want to say. Did bodybuilding get better? Did it get worse? The 90s, the early 90s, the late 80s into the early 90s was like conditioning, proportion. The guys still were aesthetic. Then Dorian came back. I don't know, he was like maybe 14 or 13 pounds heavier than the year before.
Right.
He shocked everybody with those before and after pictures in Flex magazine. I have that. You gave me that.
Yeah. December 93, I think it was, Flex magazine.
Yeah, but I heard, I know what happened, because Peter McGuff showed the guys at the office. Look at Dorian, showed them pictures of Dorian like 6 weeks out. And he said everyone just seen the air come out of them. Like they just slumped their shoulders and walked away. Like they knew they weren't beating that.
No.
But then, dude, think about it. 94, Dorian was a little off. 95, he was phenomenal. 96, he was phenomenal. 97, Nasser should have won in 97. As much as I love Dorian.
I disagree. You look at from the front, okay, it's debatable, but from the back, it was over.
Debatable? Bro, Dorian's front double bicep, his left arm was like 14 inches.
I'd have to see that video again.
See it.
But yeah, Dorian had him from the back all the way.
That's the weird thing. Dorian came in at his worst condition ever, and his left arm was just like, it looked like it was about 14 inches flex. I'm not even being a dick. Like, it looked like nothing. But his back, for some reason, got even better. His rear lat spread was unbelievable.
Right.
But I just think that front double and the front relax was so bad that I think that Nasser should have won, in my opinion. Right. I think Nasser killed him in some shots. The abs and thighs, the front double. It was bad. But then the Ronnie Coleman era started. And I think 98 and 99, those versions of Ronnie Coleman, even with the gyno 98, I don't even care. Like, there's no bodybuilder in history that can match those two looks.
No.
I'm sorry. Phil Heath, maybe at his best, could come close, but Ronnie would take it because of the structure. But
I remember a few guys from the gym. I think even you called me. It was that night or the next night. To tell me the results of the Night of Champions, which was a few months before. He goes,
yes, when Ronnie won.
Yeah. He said, guess who won? I said, I'm thinking, Dillette, anybody else. And he said, no, Ronnie Coleman. I said, what? No, it couldn't be. A few guys at the gym that went, they said, that's the next Mr. Olympia. And, he wasn't on the radar. He was not, and he won.
Everyone says that Flex Wheeler was close in '99.
Nope, no, he
The
wasn't.
second they turned around, Flex's glutes and hamstrings looked 8 weeks out.
Yeah,
People online constantly, dude, on these dumb friggin' sites on Facebook, they're showing the night show of Ronnie and Flex waiting to be announced first and second. They're both standing there with their hands on their hips. That's what they're judging on who won the Mr. Olympia.
no
Yeah.
way.
Okay, yeah, Ronnie with his hands on his hips, Flex beats him. That's not bodybuilding.
No.
Go through all the mandatories. He destroyed him. Years.
Well, that's what the guys at the gym were saying when they went to see the '98 Olympia at the Fell Forum. They said there was no way, nobody was beating Ronnie Coleman that night. He had everybody in every pose. He was that great.
Amazing. The best bodybuilder of all time. Of course, every bodybuilder during their reign back then. You have everybody. There was a couple of Olympias that were kind of iffy. Jay Cutler probably could have won the title a few times from him. I think Dorian, you could have lost at least once. Lee Haney might have lost that one year they went natural. Do you remember?
Yeah, but he had the height. He had more size over Labrada. I actually, not to get off the subject, but I knew somebody that worked for Twin Lab, and he said that the mass fuel, like the protein powder, all that stuff, horrible.
That's the one thing about today versus back then. The supplement quality is better now than it is then. It was garbage.
Oh, yeah.
Garbage. Like Mega Mass 2000 and Gainer's Fuel. Like the scoops are like the size of a bucket, dude. Like a gallon bucket.
There's a weight gain powder right now called Serious Mass by Optimum Nutrition. The scoop is a detergent scoop. That's how big it is. And I still have it. I'll bring it in on another episode. I want to show you how big this scoop is. Look like a shovel. I'll tell you real quick. There was a protein powder when we worked at Bally's. It was called Methoxy Pro. It tasted like gasoline. And you took it. You said, it tastes great. I said, no way.
I don't remember that. Back then, though, like the good thing about back then is ephedrine was legal.
Yeah,
so, yeah. You had the ECA stack. All of us at Bally's used to pop the ECA pills, and I would train clients, and like everyone was on ECA back then. It was like flying. Everyone was flying.
There was that Ultimate Orange, if you remember that when it first came out. The thing is,
like kids today don't know what pre-workout is. He's on that shit.
See, I never took any of that stuff, and never ephedra. There were caffeine pills.
I did. I love Diet Fuel. I used to love Diet Fuel.
Diet Fuel, yeah.
And Rip Fuel.
Rip Fuel, yeah.
Oh, man, that stuff was great. My resting heart rate was like 297.
When I did my shows, I was just that stuff was there, but I never looked into it or used it. It was just
straight edge, bro. Like,
yeah, it was just.
You remember my brother's bachelor party? You drove everybody in Winnebago. You had your little protein shake and a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yeah, that was yeah.
But listen, man, I think that we're gonna make this a series. We might as well just make the '90s our own series that we do. Like, I didn't tell you. This is gonna be a good episode. We're gonna have an American Muscle magazine episode where 3 people that worked on the show are going to be here. We're going to have Ron Harris, my friend Steve, who was a gaffer. I don't know if you know that. Steve worked on American Muscle, right?
Yeah. I remember.
And then the camera guy that was on American Muscle. Everyone's going to be together. We're going to have an episode just about that and behind the scenes. And Ron Harris was like wasn't he a producer? He became a producer on the show.
Yeah, producer. No, assistant producer or co-producer.
Well, he eventually, towards the end, became producer. I mean, the guy's been a #1 journalist for bodybuilding since
forever.
Since the 80s.
I have probably around 10 years worth of footage.
So the hardcore gym industry is like a novelty now. Like a lot of people try to duplicate the shit that we went through back in the 90s and the 80s when we trained. And people don't understand Olympic Health Club was a no-nonsense type of gym, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Tony Candela, the owner, was one of the first guys to ever unofficially squat 1,000 pounds in the gym.
Right.
And he was going to do it officially and got into a bad car accident. And his rib cage was so big, it crushed the whole dashboard and saved his life.
I remember that. Yeah.
But that gym was hardcore, dude. There was 3 floors, no AC, no heat, and just a bare bones minimum equipment. but most of it was handmade.
Yeah.
They had a leg press that had no like safety rails. Like you know how like you're in a regular leg press of 45 degree, you have the
Right.
handles, you unlock it. You had to get in from the bottom and then push your hands on your knees to get it up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you hit failure, you just come down and slide out.
Right.
It was crazy. They had homemade dumbbells for like 210-pound dumbbells. They had
Wow.
the old school universal set that we used to have in high school.
I love that one. Yeah.
They had that for shrugs. I used to do the bench on the
Yeah.
bench machine for shrugs and bench. Like you don't see that stuff anymore. Like I used to be
No.
excited to go to the gym to try all this equipment out.
Yeah.
Like that gym was the atmosphere was great, man. And Tony was awesome. He gave me a job. I was mopping the floors when I was a kid.
Remember that.
And I want to get him actually. I actually spoke to him. He said he'd be more than happy to do an interview.
And
So
even some of the guys back in the '90s at these local gyms were national stars. Like you talk about, like Jose Figueroa, Sal Princiata, Rob Russo, Johnny Moya. There was Doug Wentz. A lot of these local guys that we always would see. They were in the magazines. They were national competitors. You know, great time in the '90s. It's perfect time to
amazing.
be in the gym at that time.
I mean, we got to admit too. There's a certain part of nostalgia because you and I graduated high school in '92, and that was our era. So that was like we had fun in that era. I remember going out and having a lot of fun, going out to clubs and stuff during that time, and going to the gym with you and working at Bally's. That was like a lot of fun for me too.
Yeah,
So the '90s was special. It definitely was, and I think it's special enough for us to do this like on a continuous basis. First guest, as far as interviews are going to be, we're going to shoot for Jerry Scalisi,
yeah.
who was an AAU Mr. America, Mr. Universe,
Mr. World.
and he placed the Nationals, the MPC Nationals, right?
I think he won his class at the Junior Nationals. I want to say.
Okay.
It was in the mid '80s, '86 or '87, right there. And then he placed sixth. I'm not sure what nationals it was, '86 or '7. And then he was supposed to make a comeback. If you remember that when Don Ross announced it, make a comeback, and he had some things going on, and with the gym and everything, and never did it. He never came back. He actually even wanted to go into the WBF. WBF didn't want those guys. They would destroy everybody. Him and Victor Terra when WBF came to Gold's in Deer Park.
If Jerry would have pursued the NPC, he would have done really well as a pro.
Jerry even told me he was loyal to the NABA organization because he was really close with what was that guy's name again?
Dave Palumbo always talks about him.
He was a
trainer of all the guys back then.
Yeah, he was loyal to him, so all Jerry had to do, and he told me, he goes, it was just a matter of making a phone call. Jim Mannion, and Wayne D'Amelia, get him into the IFBB like he did with Charles Claremont. That's how he got into the IFBB. He said, I have a guy who's winning all the NABA shows. He'd be good at the Olympia. I think his first Olympia was sixth, I think it was.
Why did that guy not place better? He was unbelievable.
Something?
Politics, because he came from NABA?
Yeah, probably so.
He was unbelievable, dude. Yeah. All right, guys. So we're going to focus on next week. We're going to have a guest. We're going to try to get Jerry Scalisi on. We're talking about he was an AAU champion. He won everything. And the guy's physique was phenomenal. He's a coach and a trainer. And, he's a blast from the past also, guy from the 80s. So I think that'll be perfect for our first guest. Okay. All right, guys. So we're going to wrap it up today, and we're going to focus on getting our guest in next week. Alberto, always a pleasure, bro. This was a great episode.
It was. Thank you. Thank you for having me again.
Do you have anything that you want to plug?
Just my gym where I work at. Been training out of there for 35 years. Pro Fit in Deer Park. It's 41 Mercedes Way in Deer Park. 24/7. We never close. And
then I'm going to say, don't go there. Come to Outlift Athletics in East Setauket. No, Pro Fit is a phenomenal gym. We're on two different sides of the island anyway. So I work at Outlift Athletics in East Setauket, another 24/7 gym. Phenomenal equipment. There's a lot of powerlifters and strong men there, a lot of bodybuilders. The equipment is unique. I've been personal training out of there the last year and a half. You could message me on Facebook or You can catch me on Instagram at Arablo Fitness 1974. Shoot me a DM. Also do online coaching, one-on-one training, nutrition coaching. You can hit me up and schedule an appointment, and we'll get that going. Guys, so another great episode. I'm going to say train hard, eat good, do something esteemable. If you want self-esteem, you have to do something esteemable. So help someone new in the gym. You see somebody in the gym that looks uncomfortable, introduce yourself, make them feel comfortable, and maybe give them a pointer or two. All right, Alberto. So I'll see you next week, and let's sign out.